Caitlin Clark brings it down, goes twice between her legs, step back jack. A'ja Wilson doesn't like that. A'ja Wilson isn't smart enough to understand that everybody's going to get fat because of Caitlin Clark. Everybody won't get fat if they keep bringing up the ridiculous, idiotic, and tired old notion of racism.
A.A. Wilson is demanding something so absurd it defies logic, a lifetime ban for Caitlin Clark. Is this really about Clark being better than you? Or are you upset she's single-handedly breathing life into a league that was barely surviving? Let's be honest, before Clark showed up, nobody paid attention to your 3 MVPs. Now, the only reason you're making headlines is by dragging her into baseless, racially charged drama. Instead of tearing her down, maybe appreciate how she's elevating the game for everyone.
A'ja Wilson, who bitch whined and moaned and continues to bitch whine and moan, that Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's...
How do you convince yourself that Clark's success is about her race and not her incredible talent? As her star keeps rising, players like you who can't handle someone else's shine will only fade into irrelevance. Keep digging, AA, because the spotlight you're chasing is slipping further away with every baseless claim.
That we need to worry about than what other people have to say. I have a scout, I have 11 other minds on my team in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset. So I really can't give you the best answer on that because I really don't pay any attention to it. My goal is just to go out there and be the best that I can be for my teammates, both on and off the court, and we're going to go out there and be us.
According to Wilson, Clark's issue is a supposed lack of respect for the game and its pioneers. Really? Carrying the Indiana Fever, smashing records, and bringing the WNBA into the spotlight somehow equals disrespect? Let me guess. AA, respect is just code for stop being better than me. From where I'm sitting, Clark is elevating the league and doing more for its future than you ever could. Maybe it's time to rethink your narrative.
I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard.
So that's the issue. Here? It took you 3 years, but this white girl achieved it all in just a few months. Now A.A. Wilson is out here throwing a public tantrum like she's been robbed of a participation trophy. Honestly, it's almost impressive how someone so accomplished can still come across as this insecure. But hey, when a rookie like Caitlin Clark overshadows you, I guess desperate times really do call for desperate whining.
Hey, look, we love Steph Curry as a black man because of how he plays. Don't give two craps about Steph Curry or Caitlin Clark being white, black, green, or purple. When in doubt, yell racism, and when in doubt, look stupid doing it. And the latest is this moron named A'ja Wilson. I think, talking about racism, it's a huge thing. I think a lot of people may say it's not about black and white, but to me it really is. Well, of course.
Apparently, Clark's brilliance shines a little too bright for Wilson's liking. Instead of celebrating the league's growth or acknowledging how Clark's presence has brought in a new wave of fans, Wilson chose to cry foul. Her argument? Media bias. She claimed the attention Clark receives is all about race. It's not about black and white, she says, but let's be real, it sure sounds like it. If that's the hill Wilson wants to die on, someone hand her a shovel because she's digging her own grave. Clark isn't making headlines because she fits some mythical racial profile. She's earned every bit of it with jaw-dropping performances. Maybe instead of playing the victim card, Wilson should reflect on why Clark resonates with fans and elevates the game in a way Wilson never has.
But I think sometimes we do play the race card too much. This ain't racial. This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the three, plus everything else she does.
And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, marketability. Clark's rumored $28 million Nike deal speaks volumes about her star power. She's relatable, exciting, and has the charisma to turn casual viewers into diehard fans. Wilson's Nike deal? Oh wait, she doesn't have one. Instead of throwing shade at Clark, maybe Wilson should ask herself why companies are lining up to work with a rookie while she's left watching from the sidelines. The difference is clear. Clark brings something the league and its fans can't ignore.
Is Caitlin Clark currently the face of the WNBA? Yes. Do I think if A'ja Wilson dropped a shoe and Caitlin Clark dropped a shoe today at the very same time, that Caitlin Clark would outsell A'ja's shoe by 100 times? Yes, I think.
What makes this even sadder is that Wilson isn't just competing with Caitlin Clark on the court, she's losing in the court of public opinion too. Clark's story is legendary, a rookie transforming a failing franchise, breaking records, and doing it all with an infectious energy that makes you root for her. Wilson, on the other hand, is giving off major bitter has-been vibes. Her entire narrative now is about how unfair life is. News flash, AA. Life isn't fair, and neither is the spotlight. It shines where the action is, and right now, Clark is the main event. Let's not ignore Wilson's other gems in this rant. She went after Clark's on-court demeanor, calling her cocky and accusing the media of overhyping her. Oh, AA, sweetie, that's not cockiness, it's confidence. It's why people can't stop watching Clark play. Maybe if you had even a fraction of that spark, you wouldn't be so focused on whining about airtime. Fans don't tune in to watch entitlement. They watch for the fire, attitude, and energy Clark brings every game. Remember when Wilson said, "This year is more the year that I've seen anyone call my game boring than it's ever been"? You can practically hear the bitterness. The fan base is divided, with some using the tired racial dynamics argument. Yes, these conversations matter, but let's be clear, this isn't about race. It's about one player's insecurity over her fading relevance and desperate attempts to stay in the conversation. While AA throws shade, Clark is letting her game do the talking, breaking records and pulling in crowds. Meanwhile, Wilson is sitting on the sidelines, hoping for attention. To the WNBA's credit, they've wisely stayed out of this mess. No official statement, no acknowledgement of Wilson's suspension demand. Just silence. Good on them. The league has bigger priorities, like expanding its reach and capitalizing on the buzz Clark has generated. If Wilson had any sense, she'd focus on the same thing instead of turning this into her personal pity party.
Oh, Caitlin Clark, Dawn Staley, the great Dawn Staley, who I revere, by the way. But she was playing the way she's playing now. Well, wait a minute. You know she had the potential. You know, playing amongst other stars, with her marksmanship, she could have made big things happen. With her passing ability, she could have made things happen. Then she would have drawn excitement and eyeballs, and people the world over would have been watching her, which would have assisted in the elevation of the WNBA brand, which would have benefited everybody.
But let's be real, AA Wilson isn't just salty. She's marinating in her own bitterness. Despite her MVP trophies and championship rings, she knows deep down that she's being eclipsed by a rookie. And that's what this is really about, isn't it? Clark has done what Wilson couldn't, capture the hearts of fans and dominate the cultural narrative. Sure, Wilson's stats are impressive, no one's taking that away from her. But stats don't make you the face of the league. Charisma and relatability do, and Clark has both in spades. Wilson's hypocrisy is almost too much to handle. Remember when she was the new star on the block, soaking up the media love, landing endorsement deals, and basking in the limelight? Back then, she didn't seem to have any problems with how the system worked. But now that someone else is stealing her thunder, suddenly it's all unfair and biased. Please. If Wilson had any self-awareness, she'd see how ridiculous she looks. Instead, she's doubling down on the victim narrative, blaming everyone but herself for why the spotlight has shifted. The jealousy and racism coming from Wilson are unbelievable. There is no white privilege in basketball. Clark is popular because she isn't a narcissist. She doesn't whine, cry, and blame everything on someone else. Let's not pretend Wilson's career has been perfect either. She's had her moments of brilliance, sure, but she's also had her fair share of flops. And instead of addressing those shortcomings, she's decided it's easier to paint Clark as the villain. It's honestly pathetic. Maybe instead of pointing fingers, Wilson should ask herself why fans connect with Clark on such a deep level. Spoiler alert, it's not because of some media conspiracy, it's because Clark delivers on the court, in interviews, and with her sheer presence. Wilson had the perfect opportunity to rise above all this. She could have embraced Clark as the league's future, positioned herself as a mentor, and worked together to grow the WNBA. But no, AA went full petty. She turned what could have been a beautiful moment for the league into a circus. While Clark is out here elevating the game, Wilson is dragging it down with her drama and insecurities. At the end of the day, AA Wilson needs to face the harsh reality. The world doesn't revolve around her. Caitlin Clark is the future, whether Wilson likes it or not. Instead of wasting energy on baseless suspension demands and pity parties, maybe Wilson should focus on her game and, dare I say, her attitude. Right now, Clark is outshining her in every way that matters, and the more Wilson complains, the more obvious it becomes. She's not mad at Clark, she's mad that she can't keep up. The worst part, Wilson's antics are doing more harm than good. Instead of uplifting the league and celebrating its rising stars, she's dragging it into the mud with her jealousy-fueled rants. It's a bad look for someone who's supposed to be a leader. If anything, she should be thanking Clark for revitalizing interest in the WNBA, not tearing her down. But no, Wilson's too busy wallowing in self-pity to see the bigger picture. So here's some free advice for AA Wilson. Stop embarrassing yourself. Take a step back, acknowledge Clark's talent, and maybe, just maybe, try to learn from her. Because right now, your legacy isn't just about your stats or your championships, it's about how you handle the spotlight when it's not all on you. And let me tell you, AA, you're not handling it well.